close, but we still have a great conversation coming down the pipeline. Now, learning all things about the Kurt Allen Band. How are we doing this morning, man? Good morning to you.
Not too bad. Good morning to you as well, CJ.
Well, and
great to be on. We're kind of out just doing some handyman stuff today. So
shoot, you can have it today. This weather's going to get warm here soon.
I love it.
Do you?
I would much rather have this than the 10 degrees and snow and freezing rain.
Very fair. Very fair. Well, I saw on your website, man, you've been kicking butt, taking names, a lot of good stuff, and coming into Grafton and going to have a great show lined up for all of us.
Yeah. Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. there at Hawg Pit Barbecue in Grafton, right on the river. We're gonna throw down, man. It's gonna be a great time.
Well, and take me through a little bit of your journey, just in music and just what's led up to this point.
Oh, I've been doing this for 30 plus years. Started playing coffee houses when I was probably about 13 years old around Kansas City, and toured with metal bands and hard rock bands all through the 90s and early 2000s. And at some point, I just decided I wanted to get back to the blues, what I learned on.
I love
it. And since then, we've opened for people like Jeff Jensen, Tommy Two-Tone, done some stuff with Orphan John and the Abandoned, Alistair Green, Chris Duarte, all kinds of stuff, so it's just par for the course, man. It's just hustle all the time.
Well, and it's what I love about that is, like you said, getting back to what you learned on, man. That's what I think's super cool about this, because to me, there's no better way to really hear a musician's true thoughts through blues and really through that type of style, man. Take me through just some of the things that you feel on stage, because that's such a different type of performance than some of the other genres that are out there. You can really see the passion getting thrown out.
Yeah, well, it's just joy at all times, man. I love doing what I do.
I love it.
I couldn't imagine doing anything else. I've told people for years, I would much rather spend 8 hours in a band to go play 3 hours someplace than punching a clock. It's so much more satisfying. It's so much more gratifying. And it's a job. I don't look at it as a job. And I always tell people I have a job that every 5 to 7 minutes people cheer for us.
Right. Well, and see, that's what I think so cool about that. I mean, man, you guys are moving everywhere. Like, I saw just all the different stops that you guys will be making and all the different sets you guys have lined up. I mean, you're moving all the time. You're playing a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're doing probably, before the pandemic, we were doing over 200 shows a year.
No way. That's nuts.
We're back to about 160, 175 a year right now. So
how do you balance the shows and everything else? Is it one of those things where you just live the road and you love it, you live it, or is there a balancing act that comes into that?
No, I pretty much love it. I live it and love it. If I'm at home 3 days a week, I'm ready to get back on the road. I'm ready to go play again.
Dude, it's awesome to me, because that's really what that type of, like, the old school mentality was, where you just got out and played. It wasn't, it's a lot of work, but man, just to hear the road story right there is pretty cool. And now, is this your first time in Grafton?
No, this will be our second time in Grafton. We were there probably in October of last year, right towards the end of the season. We were there, and it's a really cool place, Hawg Pit Barbecue right there on the river in downtown Grafton. It's a very cool place, man.
Well, and honestly, it seems like just a great venue for your guys' style of music too, and really hits that setting, and that scene really well. And it's going to sound great as always, but it's going to look really cool too. And man, I wanted to ask you, Live from the Red Shed, it's available for purchase and download for streaming. Take me through that a little bit.
Well, so at the time we recorded that in 22. I want to say we recorded that in May or June. I don't remember for sure, but things had still been kind of locked down. Things hadn't really fully opened back up all the way. And we had released Whiskey, Women, and Trouble in August of 20. So to kind of keep things relevant, because there wasn't a lot of touring, we had this show coming up, and the management at the time said, "Hey, how do you feel about recording a live show at this Red Shed place?" And I'm like, "Man, that's a great idea. Let me call Jeff." Jeff Stevens is the owner at the Red Shed, and he and I are good friends. So I called him up and I said, "Hey, man, how would you feel about us recording a show live and releasing it as an album from the Red Shed?" He goes, "Hell yeah, let's do it." So I mean, it came together in like 2 weeks.
No way. Wow.
Well, like 2 weeks before the show, we called him, said, "Hey, you cool with us doing this?" And he goes, "Absolutely." So we busted it out, and Live from the Red Shed's been it's been doing steady. It has done pretty well.
Well, what's the difference of that live album, kind of sound? Was there any different ways that you guys had to perform because of it, or did you guys just go play and hit record and then let the music speak for itself?
Well, we just pretty much hit play.
It's awesome.
We just played and let it record. We did have to go in and touch up a couple vocals here and there, but that was about it. There wasn't much that had to be done. There's a little bit of difference between recording a live album and playing a live show, and really all it is how many mics you put on stuff. You put a few more mics on everything, so that when we could go back, there was, of course, some mixing and balancing done after the fact. That was done by one of our engineer friends up in Des Moines, Iowa.
Really cool. Well, I wanted to ask you, we just going back and circling back, because you mentioned Iowa, and I'm looking again just at some of the spots. I mean, you're in Iowa, you're in Minnesota, you're in Colorado, you're traveling all over, but you hit on something a little bit earlier I wanted to circle back to, and that was, that 2020 to 21 year during the pandemic when live events took the greatest beating of all time. And, what could you do? As a musician and as somebody who's already been doing that for quite some time, how did you adapt to that, truly, and just get through that year? Was it one of those things where you knew that you were wanting to get back on the road as soon as you can? And how were you able to keep everything kind of moving forward during that? I've never really asked a musician about that, especially during the pandemic.
Well, I mean, I was stir crazy, man.
I bet.
I was tired of sitting around, not being able to play as much, because 2020, like I said, we went from over 200 shows a year in 19 to where we played maybe 40 shows in 2 years.
Wow.
We would still go play shows for people that were willing to have them, but there was very few and far between. So I spent a lot of time writing, learning new material and stuff like that. And, as soon as things kind of started to open back up, I can't say gradually, I've been trying to get us back to the point where we were prior to, because, a lot of places went away.
Yeah.
Many, many places went away. So the number of venues and the outlook of everything has drastically changed. People don't stay out as late anymore. I think the pandemic turned everybody into day drinkers.
You're right, man. I said the same thing. It seems like by 8 o'clock, it's hard to, it's not as full as it used to be.
Yeah. By 8, 9 o'clock at night, people are already hammered or at home in bed, or, and, the Walmarts, the grocery stores, the restaurants and stuff, by 10 o'clock, they're all closed now.
Yeah.
So, getting something to eat after the show is sometimes challenging.
Well, I could only, and honestly, whenever I was still hitting pro wrestling really hard and doing all the traveling with that, I mean, that was seriously the same thing after the pandemic. It was like, man, what's actually open, around here, and where can I eat?
Well, you got to, hopefully you're in an area where there's a Waffle House.
Yeah, that's true. Or an iron skillet. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. Yes.
So you're playing the Hawg Pit July 13th, 2 to 6 p.m. You got 4 hours there. And with the last couple the time you went, were you able to tour Grafton a little bit, get the sights and sounds? What are your thoughts of the place?
No, we weren't able to, because I think the last time we were in Cape Girardeau the day before, and that was a Sunday night, and I think we headed out right afterwards. So we haven't really had the opportunity to tour Grafton yet. It's fairly close to St. Louis, and I've spent a lot of time in St. Louis, so it seems like a really cool, quaint little town, man. It seems like it's a very cool place.
Well, and honestly, it's one of those things where, like I said, it's going to be a great time for everybody, and there's going to be a big crowd here for this, just because of just another great, live music scene. Especially in the summer river town, that's going to be pretty cool. And was there a moment, just talking about your career overall, where you felt the most comfortable? And you know what, I'm glad I'm doing this. Was there kind of that one day where it just clicked or something happened that you went, you know what a good choice?
I guess I'd have to say about 15 years ago when I made the full-time commitment to do, this is all I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Not punching a clock for somebody else. About the first week or so when I was out playing shows all over the country, I'm like, yeah, this is right. This feels right. I can, because I don't have to rush back home on a Sunday night or a Monday morning to go punch a clock. Naturally I still have to do some little handyman stuff here and there, but that's on my time.
Right. Well, and see, that's just what I think is really cool, is just to hear the commitment and the dedication it takes too, because I mean, 200 shows just don't pop up out of nowhere. I mean, you got to hit the road and you got to work it to get to that, point, I'm sure, and
it's hustling, sometimes it's 16 hours a day on the phone or behind the computer screen, sending emails, and there's always marketing and promotions to do after that. There's, keeping websites up to date. It's 4 full-time jobs is what it is. But I would rather do this than be punching a clock and working for somebody else.
Well, 100%, man. And as we're coming up on the Sunday show, 2 to 6 p.m. over there at the Hawg Pit in Grafton, take us through what we can expect in the audience, the vibe, if you will, of the show. What can we expect?
Well, we're going to go all different directions. We're going to give you some soul. We're going to give you some funk. We're going to give you some hard rock. We're going to give you some blues, everything in between. My thing has always been, I kind of want to groove first.
Yeah.
It's got to be a little funky. It's got to have a groove to it, so.
I love it. Well, and hey, take me through the band a little bit, the group playing with you. You guys been working together for a while?
Yeah. So the current lineup's been with me for about a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
Sean Flume on drums. He's spent time as a Nashville session player. He originally comes from Southern California, LA area. He's done quite a bit of work out in Vegas as well. On the Strip and Fremont Street. And then Adam Schwartz, my bass player, he played with the guys that were in Collective Soul for quite some time. That's
great.
So yeah, I mean, we've got a solid lineup. Everyone's dedicated to doing this full time. So I see this as a lineup that's going to be long lasting. I really hope so.
Man, I do too. And it just sounds like you said that you guys are clicking, and that's what's really cool. And we're going to hear that on Sunday for sure. You can always tell when the group's really firing. And, it's been great talking with you, man. Before I let you go, what's your final thought ahead of the show in Grafton? And then also, what's the best way for us to stay up to date with you whenever you have tour spots around or just gigs around the St. Louis Metro East?
Well, our website, KurtAllenMusic.com. It's KurtAllenMusic.com. That keeps you up to date when and where we are all throughout the country. I usually do a pretty good job of trying to keep that about 4 months in advance so that we have ample warning. As far as Sunday, man, we're going to show up, throw down. That's, we're going to do what we try to do every show, play it like it might be our last.
Right. Well, and before I let you go, I got to ask you a couple of stuff. Has there been one show that will always stick with you for good or bad based on audience interaction? Because after all the shows that you've done over the years, I could only imagine there's like 1 or 2 audience members that stick with you from a show.
Yeah. So there was this was probably about 10, 12 years ago. We always get asked if we do any country music, depending on where we are. Occasionally we still play bars, so somebody will come up and go, "Hey, do y'all play any country music?" The answer is always, no, sorry, we're not a country band. But we got asked so much that we decided we were going to work out. We kind of do like a social distortion version of Ring of Fire.
Nice.
So we were playing this down in Mobile, Alabama about 10 years ago or so. And this little old lady, probably about 80 years old at the time, comes scooting across the stage or across the dance floor with her walker. Took her about 5 minutes to get there, but I was real patient and waited on her. She got all the way over, dropped a $5 bill in the tip hat, looked up at me and said, "That's so you don't play anymore, Johnny Cash." The rest of the crowd erupted, loved it, but this one little old lady was just mortified that we butchered Johnny Cash.
This is awesome. You know, seriously, thanks so much for joining the show. I hope to see you on Sunday for a couple of minutes as I catch the show, and I know that so many people will be there. And whenever you're in town again and coming by, man, feel free to hop back on the Zoom and fill us in more.
Absolutely, man. Thank you much.
No problem. We'll take a quick break. 10:48, a little bit of change in the heart of the 618. More Daily Show on this Wednesday morning comes your way next.